Hey, Strang, I've got another movement of the day for you. Today's mod is going to be a continuation of the hip flexors. We did a hip flexor drill last week where we covered the mobility with a little bit of flexibility component. Now, if we add in a strengthening component, we basically can help address any of your complaints about the hip flexors, whether it feels tight or whether you want to unlock them, or even if you experience a little bit of pain around the hip flexors. So if you hit the mobility and the strength and the flexibility, that should do you. However, because I'm me and because I can't do anything normal, we're going to add a huge bonus to today's strengthener and of course my tweaks. So the drill that we're going to do mainly involves what's called the seated hip flexion drill. It's very mild. It's almost more like a rehab drill. Would not be my first choice for a hip flexor strengthener exercise during a workout, but number one, we're able to do this throughout the day, which is, and it's accessible to everyone, which is the purpose for the mods. But in this position, we're also going to make it do double duty. So with the bonus that I'm referring to, so we're going to call this the seated hip flexion honor drill. Okay, so I'll explain what that honor part is at the end. So the first thing I want to show you is what the drill itself looks like, what the seated hip flexion drill is. And I'm sure you've seen this, and it's very, very mild. You do it seated about 90-90. You're trying to keep your torso upright. You're not rocking back or leaning back. You're bringing one knee up at a time because we're also trying to assess any differences in your mobility and strength through the hips. But the drill normally looks like this, where someone's seated, they might be holding on to something here, and you bring your one knee up at a time and then bring it down. Up and down. So this is kind of the usual mild drill. We're going to kick up the intensity by using our own resistance. So the first part is, as we bring that knee down, we're not going to just let it come down on its own. We're going to fight it down by pressing the palm of our opposite arm into the top of the thigh above the knee. Let it resist as you go down. That will kick up the engagement of your hip flexor a lot more right there. But in addition, it's like an infomercial, but there's more. Okay, we're going to take the opposite, your free hand now. We're going to cross it, so we have this cross effect in front of our body. We're going to cross it, hook the fingers on our opposite shoulder, and basically bear down on that shoulder. Okay, so we're basically pressing this elbow kind of down into our rib cage. And then as we do that same motion of pressing down, we're getting a little bit of your serratus involved at the top as well, and it's also helping us keep square so that you don't need to have someone help you, keep still if that's an issue. All right, so here is the honor part. So we're going to, before we do any of this awesome bonus that we're going to add is, first, we're going to do a squeeze through our pelvic floor. So before we do anything at all that we just went through, we're going to squeeze through our pelvic floor. That means as if, and this is for males and females, you're trying to stop the flow of urine, okay? That's what it means. So the honor part comes from the fact that I can't tell if you're doing that. Nobody can tell if you're doing that, okay? But do it, act as if you're stopping the flow of urine. So we're doing this in intentional order. So that's the first part, okay? Once you have that done, then we're going to, second part, squeeze through and try to flatten our lower abs. So we're trying to act as if we want to push that lower ab back towards our spine. Again, you already have your pelvic floor squeeze on. Now we've got this lower ab engagement. We're going to keep both on, and then we're going to perform that seated hip flexion strengthener drill while doing all of that and breathing. And at some point, you might lose that squeeze of the pelvic floor. Well, that's what you want to work on, okay? Also, of course, if you have any differences in the strength of each side, do extra, few reps on the side that's weaker. So this ability to squeeze through our pelvic floor and engage our lower abs, this is going to help. If you could do this until it becomes a little bit more automated, a little bit more default, that's going to help protect your lower back. It's going to give you an extra boost on any ab specific exercises that you're doing, that you always do that first before you start engaging anything else. And it's also going to turn, as I always say, it will turn every exercise into an ab exercise. So you'll basically boost the benefits of everything you do. This seated position is a great way to do it. It's mild, and again, no one can see you do it, so it's the honor system. Give it a go. This is Jen signing off, reminding you to start where you are, do what you can, use what you have, and squeeze something.